All right. Hello, I'm Jerry McKee, and you're on Prime Time with Jerry McKee. And we're going to have special guests here. We got Jason Lemons, and he's going to talk a little bit on how you got kids, they want to learn how to fish. Well, he's got an opportunity here how you do it. They go out on boats, they have tournaments, and they really have a lot of stuff going on. Jason Lemons is the coach, and the assistant coach is Mr. Pruitt. And I forgot his name, first name.
Wesley.
Wesley, that's what it was. I knew it was West something other and stuff. But we're going to have a great time here, and we're going to talk to him a little bit about growing up. When he's growing up, did he like to fish or anything like that? Hold on a second. What, Edna? Edna, I didn't hear you. What? Echoing real bad. Well, let's see what's. All right, let's see if this is echoing. It kind of worries me sometimes when she says that, because everything here is. Let me check one thing just to make sure. Nothing should be echoing. It's only coming through here. And coming through here. All right, you're going to hear the clocks go off. That's one thing you're going to hear. I just don't know where the echo is coming from because there's nothing to echo from. I know what it is. My engineer, she thinks it's better. I think what it is, it's her hearing. No, it's not. All right, let me switch you over here to Jason Lemons. How you doing, Jason?
Doing well. Thanks for having us.
Well, that's great. And now, just to let people know who you are the coach of the Union County High School Bass Anglers.
Yes.
And that's got to be pretty neat, and especially if people don't know what that is. That's fishing.
Yep.
And now, let me ask you this. Did you go fishing a lot when you was growing up little?
Oh, yeah. Growing up in Lockhart on the Broad River, my dad, that was one of our rituals. I know the river like the back of my hand, so fishing's been part of my life, fishing and hunting both. So it's been pretty much, since I was born. I was probably born with a rod in my hand. So,
what was you remember your first rod and reel that you got? Do you remember what it was?
oh yeah, Zepco 33 for sure.
I think I had the 202 when I was growing up. I mean, back then we thought that was the best, just the total best reel and rod. And actually, it was pretty good for us kids,
Oh yeah.
Did you ever lose a rod and reel when you was a kid?
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Numerous.
Well, see, they didn't like to take me fishing much because I don't have patience and I play around
Yeah.
and toss stuff in water. Can you catch any fish when you do that?
No, I tell the kids all the time, we laugh about it, and I've told a few of them, that fish live in water, not in the trees. So they when they're casting, sometimes I wonder what they're fishing for. I have pictures of some kids this past year that's pretty hilarious. It hung in trees and stuff, and we laugh about it some. So it's funny.
Well, it is because they've got to learn,
Yep.
and you get to learn so many. People don't realize so many things that you got to learn about really fishing.
Oh yeah.
And it's not just a playtime, which it's really a serious business because it's you got a lot of safety stuff there.
Yeah.
And how many? Well, when you're growing up like that, now you remember some of the advice your dad gave you? I know y'all go fishing even now.
Oh yeah.
Now, do y'all have bragging rights? Who's going to catch the biggest fish or the most?
At my age, he wins now, regardless. We competed. He was very. He liked to brag and stuff too, but he would always let me have it when when I was a kid or whatever. Now he's got older. I let him have it now because it means a lot more to me for him to feel like he's won. But we know who's the better one is.
So if Philip's watching this right here, he's gonna say, I want to really get that boy there. So you let him win now. Now he let you win years growing up. And it's almost
Yeah.
that cycle when we get older. So you go back to your childhood and things. And so you're saying that Philip has gone back to his childhood, and when it comes to fishing.
Yeah, no, I don't know if I'm gonna go that far because I have to see him later. So I don't want to. I think he's still really good.
What is some of you remember some of the advice he gave you growing up as a kid when you went out to fish and say you remember the first time he took you out to fish?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, I was very young. I mean, I know, just telling me the safety about, don't get too close to the water. Don't, because we grew up around the Lockhart powerhouse and stuff, fished there a lot. So, it was, a lot of safety because a lot of current, a lot of things there in the race and stuff. He was really, big on safety as far as that went, but taught me a lot, taught me how to bait hooks, how to tie them on. That's, just things you'll never get back and things I can pass on, even to my kids, I taught them. So it's a thing that it's a very good time. I think the biggest thing I cherish the most is just our time together.
Right.
That bonding that you have. I mean, you don't really say nothing, but you're there together, and it means it's a very very good thing to have, especially when your father's with you and things like that. It's like kids don't have that.
Now, did you when you're putting those hooks on? Do you ever get stuck?
Oh yeah, I've had a few of them stuck in my fingers and places. I've had them. I've had my son introduce me to a few of them faster than I wanted to, and in places I didn't want it. But hey, you have to deal with that.
Well, and I got to ask you this: do you remember your first fish you ever caught?
Probably, if I think about it, I don't know that I remember the first fish I ever caught, but I have a few fish in my life I remember catching just because of the sizes and things like that. I'm pretty sure my first fish was probably a catfish.
Now, I noticed. I remember my first fish, and they didn't tell me that fish, the fins are sharp.
Yep.
How did you find out the hard way, or they let you just go ahead and grab the fish, or your dad kind of teach you how to hold the fish?
Yeah, they teach you how to hold them. He wouldn't let me get, but I'm telling you, I've been finned just as probably many times as he has. It's part of it. You have it, but yeah, you find out really quick that they have sharp fins on them.
Is it like a briar, right?
Yeah, kind of the brim and the catfish really have sharp fins. The bass more, that we fish for, you more get your thumbs where you stick it in their mouth, and they have little fine sandpaper teeth that
Oh,
they
okay.
eat with, and you get bass thumb is what it's called, and it literally looks like that you have rubbed your thumb and your fingers on sandpaper all day, and it gets really rough,
Wow.
and
I
it
didn't.
gets painful if
Yeah,
you.
I didn't even know that. I know that fish had some teeth there, little bitty tiny teeth,
Yeah,
and never thought about them really eating, just kind of like sucking it down. That was it,
yeah.
kind of like I eat, just gulp it down.
Yeah, they do. They go up at Mason end, but they have their jaws. I mean, I've had bass to hold on to plastic worms and not even have a hook in them, and you pull the fish up to next to the boat, and they just bit on the end of the worm, and the worm's taking the weight, but they break it off finally. But yeah, they got jaws that can hold on really good.
Wow.
So
Now, does the catfish, does it have, I know it's got the whiskers and stuff like that, but it look like they're kind of slick and don't have fins.
yeah, they have like a skin on them, and they get like I know Hank Parker's big on if you catch a catfish when you fishing with Hank Parker, he'll tell you he's even told Junior on his show that he was on with him, don't get that slime in my boat. Well, they're slimy, they get all over your hands, and that's one of the reasons I still catfish some, but I'm mostly on the game fish because of the fact they're not as dirty to handle and things like that.
Oh, okay. Hold on a second here. Let me grab this.
Call from
Wesley Pruitt.
to accept, press 1.
So this is my assistant coach.
Okay, Wesley, can you hear us?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Well, can you hear it?
Yep.
All right, I can bump this up a little bit. How you doing?
Oh, I'm all right. All right. Been a long day. How about y'all?
Well, it's been a hot one, hasn't it? Now, Wesley is the Pruitt is the assistant coach of Union County High School bass anglers, and so he assisted with Jason here. We was talking about when Jason was growing up and a little bit about his fishing experience as a kid. Tell us a little bit about yours. When you was growing up, Wesley, did you uh, how was your experience growing up and your first time you had to go fishing? Did your dad take you or
Well, you
grand?
know, well, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Dad took us, and we went to several different places, local ponds, mostly rivers. Um, come on in into my teenage years and buddies in high school and going through school with them. We get some pay lakes and well, it's Big D's now. Back when I was in high school, it was Harris Lake. We used to walk. I live close to it, so we walked from the house out there. Shoot, about every day in the summertime, we go out and at Harris's Lake and fish.
Now, now we was talking about the favorite fishing rods. What type of fishing rod did you use when you was growing up?
Uh, just whatever Daddy handed me. Most of the time, it was here, boy, here, use this. Like the old Zepco 33s, the old Zepco, the two. I can't remember the spinning reels that Daddy had back then. But you might have one or two of those.
So yeah, but now I was telling him that I use the zip code 202, and I'm trying to talk here and trying to do something too, but it's not going to work for me. But we we use a 202. Now, you remember your first fish you ever caught?
I would say a brim. Yes, sir. I'd say it was brim with cricket.
With crickets. So you all actually had to go out and dig some worms and live bait, right?
Yes, sir. My father had a small farm when I was growing up, and he had rabbits and chickens and things of that nature. So we get up under the rabbit pen and we dig through the manure under there, the dirt and all this, and we'd get grub worms out, red worms out, flip a board over near the pens or around the barn area, and we'd catch crickets.
Now, I remember as a
That's
kid.
how we got ours.
Yeah, I remember as a kid that I used what's called grub worms,
Yes, sir.
and with the wigglers that really kind of flop around there real good. Is that what they call them?
Yes, sir.
The worms. That's,
Yeah,
so
Them old wigglers.
night crawlers.
okay.
Now,
Now,
this is a little different than a night crawler.
night crawl's a little different.
Yeah, night crawler was more of a tickle worm. Them little old wigglers, I remember those. When you hook one of them, they just put off some kind of defense mechanism.
Yeah, the red
And your
worms.
fingers will be slimy. Yeah, the red worms and stuff. Golly, you can't get that stuff off of you.
Oh, yeah. Now, it's kind of like Jason was talking about. Now, who was it that took you as fishing as a boy?
Mostly was my father, and then we done it as a family. Mother would come with us, and my older sisters and all. Up to the point that I kind of teenage kid, and I started hanging with my buddies at that point, going up through school.
Yeah, it was kind of like myself. I lived in a place almost about like Lockhart, and we had the Catawba River come right through our town, and we'd always go down this big pipe that you walk up in, and we'd go on near the dam and go fishing there, and so we experienced, and we didn't have the luxury sometimes of getting the rod and reel. We chopped down some cane poles and
Oh yeah.
and caught some what's called rock bass
Yep.
Okay.
on it. So really, what I was getting point was asking both of you about you growing up like that, the experience that you really had being with your friends and being with your family, and the kids nowadays kind of stay more in the house and they don't want to get out too much and looking for something to do. And to me, this would be a great opportunity for them to bond with the other kids and also learn how to fish and
Right.
what to use in the correct way, the safe way also.
Yep.
So, do how many kids y'all have now that's signed up or?
So this past year was one of the bigger teams that we've had. I think, if I'm not mistaken, between the bank division and the boating division, we were right at 32, 30, between 32 and 36 kids, captains. So we had a pretty good sized team this year. We had 13 boat teams, which is we say those are your high school and junior teams that have boats that they go on and they go to the tournaments at all the lakes around South Carolina. In the bank division, I'll let Wesley, be more on that one. That was this year, this past season, we had a need because we had more kids than we had boats, and so we wound up having to come up at the last minute and decide. Wesley spearheaded that to have a bank division where we could give every kid an opportunity to fish this year, which it worked out really well. There was a lot of hiccups in it. And that, I know he'll talk a bit more about that on his side, but we went with that, so we didn't have to turn anybody away because it's really hard to turn a kid away that wants to do it, and we want to make it eventually to where we'll have enough to where we can actually take the bank division kids out and fish in big tournaments as well, so they can get a taste of of the big side of it.
No, no, you're talking about the bank fishing.
Hmm.
Let me switch this back up here. Here we go. Here we go. We can both of us on
All right.
it. Talking about the bank fishing. What do you really mean by that? Is this just standing on the bank fishing, or Wesley? Can you tell a little bit about that?
Yes, sir. Like Jason said last year when we had our meeting and we were signing kids up. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough boats or boat captains for every child to get on the boat and fish the normal trail the junior and the high school division does. So I reached out to the neighboring high school, Woodruff High School. This is how I got involved with the fishing team. A friend of mine, his son started out on the bank division in Woodruff. So he moved up to the boat side, and he said that he was going to buy a boat and start running this fishing trail. And I told him, I said, well, if that's what you want to do, I'll get in and buy a boat myself, and I'll get involved with the team in Union. So I reached out to Jason, and I went and bought a boat, and I picked up a team, and we fished last season. And then this season come around, we had so much going on. Well, Woodruff already had the bank division established at their school. So I reached out to the head coach, and I talked to my friend over there, which is Daniel Scott. Ricky Edmonds is the head coach for Woodruff. So I reached out to Ricky and met him on a Saturday morning, and I talked with him and told him what I was wanting to do as far as starting a bank division here in Union. And I was going to mirror off of what he had established. I think his bank division now is up to like 125, 130 kids.
Wow. Now, is it hard to find a place on the bank to fish? I know you're kind of limited there. Do y'all scope one out beforehand, or how do you determine? Because like I said, you're very limited on space.
Yes, sir. Well, what we ended up doing when we started this last year, of course, we have John D. Long Lake. We have Foster Park, which is the banks are very cleared off and very accessible. And then we had Woodsman of the World. They stepped up and let us use their ponds. And we had Jonesville Reservoir. That was another place too, wasn't it, Jason? But I can't remember.
Yeah.
But anyway, we started taking the kids. We'd meet once a month on a Saturday, and I would from 10 in the morning to 2 o'clock in the afternoon, they would fish. And I told Jason, I made up the the rules in it as far as running the actual tournament with these kids on this bank. I would, do the top 3 anglers, and then I'd do a big fish, whoever caught the biggest fish of that day.
Now,
So we
when y'all have, I know you got them out there fishing like that, but before you really get out fishing, do y'all have a class that you sit down, you talk to them about, of course, about safety, and of course about how to tie your hook on, or your bait, or fly fishing, or whatever y'all use? Do y'all have a class just sitting down and going over the preliminaries with them, or do you do it just on the fly, or say it that way?
well, pretty much this past season it was pretty much on the fly. And I hate, like you say, that's probably the wrong choice of words. But the parents was there helping out dramatically.
Okay.
If the parents couldn't step up to the plate and tie a knot or pick a lure, myself was there. Jason, of course, he was there, and we had a couple other boat captains that came, and some of our kids from the high school came. So we had kids out there with them. We had 7 on the bank this year, 7 kids.
So
And
some
if
of
they
your
had a question about something, we'd help them out and physically show them how to tie the knot, or what kind of lure presentation to throw, just different baits and things like that.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's kind of was my question, is because, sometimes some kids have never been out and fishing before. And, now, unfortunately, nowadays, there's usually an absent parent in the home. And so you're really taking on that role and responsibility of teaching a child how to fish, and to have that conversation, and talk. Now, to me, would be the most one is first is how to tie it. The next thing would be, what bait do you use? I mean, do you use your own experience in this, or it depends on the water? Jason, how do you determine that?
That's something that takes
It's
years to perfect. I mean, I'm still
a
learning.
science. Honestly, it's a science. Because you got to take, like, condition of the water, the weather, cloudy days, rainy days, sunny days, the heat outside, water temperature, all this combined all at one time. And then you got to figure out what the fish really wants. And that's the main thing.
Would y'all teach the kids this science of see, when I went myself fishing when I was little, to me the water temperature would be good for swimming, or something like that. I never knew about anything about fishing, as far as the water temperature, where's the best place to, whether it be underneath a rock or what. I really didn't know that when I was a kid, and I imagine some of these kids that's never been fishing before doesn't know this, and they just think you just stick your bait in the water and you yank them out.
Yeah, so this
Right.
first year here that we done the bank division and everything, we had a lot of, we got a lot of learning to do as far as, being the first year. I applaud Wesley for stepping up and taking on that challenge, because it was just going to be more than I was going to be able to handle, because of having the boat division. And we have a lot of stuff that we're going to improve on as it grows. We had times with the boat division where we would actually meet up at John D. Long Lake and do knot classes and have some pitching contests and things like that. Well, this past year was kind of an unorthodox year. We had a lot of death in the family and things like that kind of made this season a little different. So we didn't get to do as much as we wanted to on both sides. With Wesley and myself, we had a lot of stuff going on that, we just had to kind of just play it down by what we had going on. So, right. We're moving forward. We got a lot of plans on making things better, getting better communication with some people and things like that, because when the bigger the team gets, the harder it is to get everything organized. When it was a small team, it was really easy because you could just call 1 or 2 people. You had everything you needed or whatever. Now you're getting up into the double digits and things like that. You got a lot of parents. You got a lot of people. So
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's growing.
Yeah.
I never heard when I was growing up. We didn't have this in my school or anything, and the schools now does not. It's just now starting to grow in that area. Now the university has it.
Yep.
And I think the more they see that this is growing, that them start some being aware and thinking that we need to help these guys.
Yeah, right now I know it's in our legislation that they're talking in works of this. Right now the way it's set up, high school fishing's typically clubs. There are some high schools that recognize the fishing team as a sporting team and within their school, but Union County we're considered a club, just like the rifle team,
Right.
things like that. So right now in legislation, it's being brought down that they're wanting to sanction, because South Carolina and all the surrounding states, this is becoming a bigger thing. There's more interest in it. This is becoming a huge thing. So, they're looking at this as a sanctioned sport, just like football, baseball, and everything.
Right.
So, I think within the near future, some schools, their fishing teams are bigger than their football teams.
Right.
So,
But that'd be nice.
I always look at it, because even when we were with Hank, there's kids that are gifted. You get that, but there's kids out there that are just on that mediocre side. They're really not good enough to make the team, kind of thing.
Right.
And fishing draws the line. Everybody around Union County, they fish, they do this thing. So it gives kids that wouldn't typically have an opportunity to do a sport to get into something, and, it keeps them out of things. So, that's where we really want to excel with this thing, with these kids, to give them an opportunity. Kids that wouldn't have an opportunity to be in sports can do this and have a good time at it. Man, I really wish when I was a kid that I had this. I'd have loved to have done it.
Because you're correct about that. Not all kids are made to play football, basketball, or anything like that. And sometimes when you try out for that, the whole season you're sitting on the bench doing nothing, and that discourages them. This way, they're really.
Yes, it does.
Go ahead, Wesley.
Oh, I was going to say, yes, it does. My son, he played finger football, 5th and 6th grade. Then he come into junior high and he played 7th grade. Well, he didn't play 7th grade. I'm sorry. His 7th grade year, he played finger ball. 8th grade year, he started junior high football, and the ball team wouldn't let him play. He had to sit the bench because he wasn't there in his 7th grade. And that was it. He never played football again.
Yeah, and
it discouraged him that bad.
Right, and this way it's not discouraging. And I think to me, when I was growing up fishing, I'm very hyper, so I got a little bored like that. But most of the time, if you're catching that fish, the thrill of bringing the fish in. Now, do y'all catch and release?
Yeah, it's all catch and release.
Yeah.
Like in the boating division, like our junior teams run from 6th grade. We opened it up this year. We're doing only 7th and 8th, but by sanction rules, they say you can fish 6-year-old, but it's a little much, I think, for a 6-year-old child to be on the way we fish.
Right.
So we say Sims, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. That gives Sims the junior high, and then 9th through 12th was your high school division kids. So that gives them a full run to be able to go through. So we run them like that. And I lost my track of thought what I was talking about.
Well, you're getting different divisions, different kids, give them all opportunity to come in to have this as a, and it's you make it fun for them. It's not nothing that you if you don't get this, you're not going to do good on this right here, and it's some kind of skill that they will grow up, especially like I said, in single homes, that they have a mentor. Mm-hmm. They have someone that's taking time with them, and not any pressure, and showing them actually a skill that they can do. Right. There's a lot of fishermen out there, a lot of professional fishermen, and I see a call coming in. I'll hold on right there a second. But you see a lot of things goes on. Can you hold on a second, Wesley?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
Hello. Hello,
Brad, Rochester.
Brad
To
Rochester.
accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Can you hear the Brad?
Sure can.
Oh, okay.
How y'all two doing tonight?
We're doing great.
Doing good.
And
I don't know if Jason got to cover it, but another neat thing about doing fishing on the team is you get to meet a lot of people, and these kids get to meet kids from other schools that they don't normally get a chance to relate to. And not just the kids, even the captains get to meet different people and learn different things too.
Yeah, that's a good point, Brad. Because you know, this thing is like national. It's huge. You know, just a few weeks ago, that national championship for one of the leagues was at Lake Hartwell, and there were 650 boats there. That was your
Wow.
best. That was their best of the United States competing at Hartwell. So that was 650 high school teams that were up against each other. They call it the World Finals. They had people from Africa and things like that there as well. But you know, like Brad said, there's so many. I've met so many people and made so many good friends. Even you know, Brad's one of them. He's one of our boat captains that's on the team. His two children, Kelsey and Noah, they fish on the team as well. So I'm glad he called in.
yeah,
I just happened to get a chance to call in tonight.
well, appreciate
They,
that, Brad. Did now, like I asked Wesley and Jason, uh, did your dad used to take you fishing, or Grandpa when you was growing up?
Back many years ago, when Jonesville used to have the fishing club that they had, my grandfather was a member of it. So I grew up on Lake Murray fishing on the weekends. My other grandfather fished the ponds here in Union and rivers. So I grew up fishing a good bit.
Wow. Well, that's great because I know you would be a great mentor to other children, and I know that your children experience because of your teaching, right?
Well, my daughter started her first year at Sims. She's done fished 3 years through Sims. She's a sophomore this year at the high school, so this will be her 6th year. My son will be graduating this year. He's been doing it 7 years now.
And I'm glad you brought it up. That you know, girls can go fishing.
Oh yeah.
And there is this year, it was nice to see that we actually had more girl anglers wanting to participate than what we've had in the past.
Oh yeah.
That is great.
And as Wesley said that he does the bank division, a lot of times I try to go help him. And my daughter has actually been able to make one of the friends that's first year fishing, and let's face it, she whooped the boys' tails this year fishing.
Oh, I bet that really gets their goat.
Well, the national champions for 2 straight years, or maybe 3 years. I know when Junior went, we went to Alabama to Pickwick. 2 girls from Texas won it then. And I'm pretty sure those same girls actually in their senior year this year, they actually swept 3 years straight. So it's 2 girls that have been from Texas that have just been. That's what I tell the girls. Girls make excellent fishers.
Oh, wow.
And they do. And like my daughter, at first, her first year, she struggled in it, and Jason will vouch for it.
Yep.
Second year, she started catching. Last year, unfortunately, she whooped her brother's tail almost every tournament.
Wow.
And I tell you, like, you know, I tell people all the time, you know, one of the things that I really, really like, you know, you talking about the kids, you know, I'll have them even right now because we're in our off season right now. We start our tournament schedule. It starts in September and runs till like April, June of the next year. So we have a break during the summer. We fish through the winter.
Oh, okay.
And so, you know, I have kids right now that 2 or 3 of them that religiously call me daily. Hey, Coach, what do you think about this? This is what the water looks like. What would you throw? And they'll send me a picture, and I'm like, okay, I would tie this on and try this. And then they send me pictures back holding up fish. And I said, well, I guess that worked out for you, right? So, you know, it's rewarding. Brad will tell you, too, man, you know, some of my best moments with my son has been on the boat. I have memories that I'll never forget.
That's right.
And I tell you, for me, being on the boat with kids and being around it like I have been, it's the excitement to see their face when they come in and hey, look what I caught.
Yep.
These kids gather around these boats as they're coming in, bragging, hey, what did you catch that on? Man, how did you catch that?
So
Well, that's great. And Brad, I know they appreciate you being participant in helping and being the mentor also like that. And thank you for calling in. I'm going to switch back over to Wesley there. But Brad, keep up that good work like that. And I was glad that you brought your daughter into this right here because most boys, we always say, "Ooh, girl, they can't go fishing."
Exactly. And she'll tell you, she'll compete with the best of them.
yep.
All right. Well, Brad, again,
Y'all have a good
appreciate
night.
you too.
You too. Thank you.
Bye. Hey, are you with us, Wesley?
Yeah.
Oh, can
Yeah,
you?
I'm here.
Okay, I just want to make sure I didn't cut you off when I switch back around here. Yeah, and I meant to ask. I'm glad you brought up about girls being in the tournaments and uh, because it's like the Andy Griffith thing. When the little girl wanted to go fishing, like she can't fish.
Yep. That's the great thing about this sport, too, as well. As long as the kid's a high school student, it doesn't matter, for Union County, it doesn't matter what school you're at. We had a kid this year that was from Columbia that was fishing with us.
Oh wow!
We're going to have a kid coming up this season that's already signed on with us. He's out near Travelers Rest, and he's going to fish on our team. And so, girls, boys, obviously, the girls, we really pushed, to have more of a co-ed, boat, because the way the boats are set up, you have one captain, which is an adult. The adult has to go through an extensive background check. We do that every year, so
Right,
the school
I was gonna
board
ask you
requires
that.
that. Yep. So they have to pass there. They have to get They have to get a certified card, a school ID, secure ID, I think. So they go through. And once that's done, they're brought before the school board to be approved to be captains. All right, so once we have all that, then a boat consists of a captain, which all he does is drive the boat and does things for them. Junior league, they have a little more freedom. They can run the trolling motor and things like that. High school, the kids have to do everything pretty much. But you'll have that, and you'll have two anglers. So you have two anglers on the boat per team, so that makes up one team. So they'll leave out. I mean, a lot of people ask, oh, it's just fishing. Well, I'm telling you, Wesley can tell you, there's some mornings that we get up 3:00 in the morning and we're sitting on the water an hour before the sun comes up. On cold mornings, it's
I was going to
intense.
say some of them cold
And
mornings.
it is from the time of blast off, which if a child has never been on a boat during a blast off of a bass tournament, they got something coming. I promise you, because it is very exciting. Intense, but they fish from sun up until turn in, and it is a physical, very competitive sport, which has a lot of rewards because a lot of parents don't know this, but there are more college scholarships available to kids that are fishing right now that they can give away.
Wow.
There are colleges begging for fishermen.
Now, your boats that you take out, they have to be pretty well safe, certified. Do you have to have a permit to drive the boat? Do you have a certain age there? Because I don't know myself.
As far as it goes right now, we have to go by DNR rules, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Boat has to be registered. We have to carry insurance on our boats. It's $300,000 liability insurance.
Wow.
That's per bass rules, the BASS. We go by their rules. We're insured by them when we're fishing. So the tournament league that we're fishing under, the SC Bass Nation, Tony Gray is the administrator of that. A great guy. He does a lot with this community and does a lot with South Carolina to bring bass fishing available. We have a TBF, the tournaments, and then we have one that is the Palmetto Boat Series. There's 3 big tournament trails. The South Carolina Bass Nations Trail is a national qualifier. So you win any of those tournaments, you'll have upwards of 200 boats in each one of these tournaments. But we fish Kiwi, Murray, Hartwell, Clarks Hill, Russell, Greenwood, just all your major lakes.
Okay.
And then they have state championships, just like any of it. So you got qualify state championship. They have a Battle of the Carolinas where the three powerhead conferences come together and the best of the best fish against each other. And that's for bragging rights. and that's when the boat captains actually get to fish too most of the time. So that's a fun one because
So most of the
Wesley,
time,
I tell you, these kids run their mouth the whole time about how good they can fish, but whenever the boat captains come up, they know what's up then.
so the captains most of the time they don't get to fish. They just man the boat, right? How,
Yep.
how many people was in the boat?
Just 3 people total.
Total 3.
Yep.
And now when you're talking about 200 or 300 boats out there, or 400, is the lake big enough? I mean,
Yes.
to me, that's just going to be it's just jammed up. Everybody's like,
When we stage in the mornings, it's pretty intense because, they'll single file launch. Used to back in the day, back in the 70s and early 80s, they would blast off and they'd be lined up and it was just fire gun and they take off like a race. They race each other out of the hole. So the one that had the biggest motor won the race. They do it for safety for us now. They do single file launches. So each boat comes up. They got numbers in the mornings and you have a peg. They call your number as you're going and you're lining up single file back to each other and they take off. And once he gets 50 yards, you take off. And still, if you got a big motor, you can outrun most of them, to the holes. But
the Wesley, do y'all go out and kind of scope out, like if you're going to go to, say, Lake Greenwood, do y'all go out ahead of time and kind of like scope out where maybe a good place is to fish?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We try to do a little pre-fishing through the season. Depending on what lake, of course. Some of the lakes that you may be good on, some of the lakes you may struggle with because you're not fished them enough over the years. But it all boils down to the same science. But yeah, we will run out and pre-fish a lot of times. And a lot of the boat captains, when we pre-fish, and all this is the expense is paid out of pocket.
Yep.
Cost of gas, ice, drinks, snacks. Like my vehicle's a diesel, so there's diesel fuel plus gas in the boat. I mean, I pay out the pocket. I don't, my kids are grown. My grandbabies are not old enough to start on the team yet, so I volunteer all my stuff to the team. I went and purchased the boat, and I paid for 90% of it. The tackle and things like that. When the boys, I call them my boys, because that's what they my team, they my boys when we on the water, because they my responsibility. Anything I have in my boat, they know they are free will to get whatever they need.
Yep.
And I don't look at the parents and ask for money in return. I do this out of love for them and love the sport.
Yep.
So it's really a all around good experience.
Well,
People would just get involved and help out.
right, and that's one thing that we'll talk about here in a few minutes here. That this is not a school paying function.
Nope.
This is something that y'all as adults and get the kids to raise money to be able, and like you said yourself, Wesley, and you, Jason, I know y'all use a lot of your own money and to go out. We know how high gas is, and we know that those boats, they drink some gas.
Yep.
And also the equipment. The equipment's not cheap, and you got kids. I know you have kids that come there that want to fish that don't even have a fishing pole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have a lot of churches and things around the area that when we have a need, say be that we have a underprivileged child or something that's there, there's a lot of these step up and donate money to get them things and all. And, even on my side of it or whatever, I'm the same way with Wesley. The team I had this year was two kids that came off of a double team boat. It was on a pontoon and they had a little accident at the first of the year. Well, they were going to have to come off the boat because the accident, they deemed there was too many kids on one boat to fish that be safe. So instead of putting them back to the bank division, I took them on my boat and fished them the rest of the year so they could stay in the division because they had fished a couple of years already. So, and it's the same way with what Wesley was saying, everything I have in my boat, they're free reign on, they can do. It took them a while to kind of get used to that because they were like, bringing their own little bags of things, and then
Right.
they open up my tackle box and my boat, and they're like, wow. I said, we'll use it. Well, we get to the end of the tournament, you know, and they'll try to cut their line off to hand me my lure back. And I said, no, you just hang on to that for a little while, you know, and just, you know, it goes deeper than just, like Wesley, I tell you, you form a bond with these kids, you know,
Right.
you feel, you know, in the same way, those are my boys. When I'm out there, they're like my children. I'm going to protect them like my children, make sure they're safe and do what they need to do.
Does any of the
Exactly.
tackle places that you and Wesley buy your lures and spend a lot from there, do they help any sometimes, or can they do that? I mean, it's just seems like if you spend a lot of money there and you got this whole group spending
Yeah.
there, that they would help a little bit with some of the costs.
We have a few companies that we go that are local. We got, if you let them know that you're a high school team, they'll give you a pretty decent discount. But you know, Hank has came out with a Huckleberry apparel, and they're
Right.
going to give us the opportunity to start. You know, each kid's going to be able to sell name brand products on Huckleberry's website, and we get a big cut from it, which is going to help, you know,
Right.
give us money back to the schools, because like I said at the first of the show, we're considered a club to the high school, so we're not funded at, we get $0 from the high school.
Right.
So it's either the parents have to pay, you know, the kids pay fees to be on the team. But our sponsors, which is all over my jersey, that's one of the reasons I wore it today. They're very valuable to us because they buy ads on our jersey. We're a walking billboard for different companies, just like the pros are.
Right.
And, you know, that's, if it wasn't for the community donations and the sponsorships that we have, this team couldn't function, because one or two people can't fund this. Because I know Wesley will tell you, there's been no dollar figure. Somebody asked me one time about what do you think it costs to run. I would say probably at the end of the day, I would be upwards of $300 a tournament come out of my pocket, just to let two kids fish. So I'm sure there's other teams that don't spend that much money, but you know, it's very expensive, because I've been on lakes before, and Wesley can tell you, you know, 30 gallons of gas ain't nothing on a big lake like Hartwell or things if you're moving a lot. So I mean, 30 gallons
Well,
of gas at the price, you know.
Well, y'all have to enter these tournaments. Isn't there a fee that y'all
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
come up with to pay to be in it?
Yeah.
And when you pay those fees, is it how many kids you get, or is it one time as a team?
It's per team, per tournament. So typically they run, the first year we have to buy their BASS membership, which those are about $25 a kid. So you times that by 35, so you got that
Wow.
amount. And then you have to buy their South Carolina Bass membership to get into the South Carolina League. So they have those fees. And then each tournament's usually it's either $20 or $25 per team that's on the boat. So if you have 13 teams, you know, you got up over $300.
They can add up.
Yeah, and we have like 13 tournaments a year, so it's right
Wow.
at 30. Well, I think it's 12 or 13, somewhere in there, after the finals and everything. But as the tournaments get near the end of the year, sometimes the fees will get a little bit more, but they're pretty set on what it is. But the fees ensure that the tournament still goes on. You know, so when you got that many teams out there, that's a lot of money that's being generated. But you know, we challenge a lot of the parents, you know, that have children that's on the team or they thinking about bringing kids, and get out there and support these kids, because you know, when they come in, people think, oh, this is just a little thing. If you come to a weigh-in and see the cheering, and you would think you at a high school football game, the way that they're hollering for these kids and stuff, and you know, boosting them up, and they're holding it. It's just like a televised bass event. It is, you know, big. It's a big thing.
Now, when you get down, I know you got several different teams. What is the big hoo-ha of the tournament? What is the biggest tournament after you get through everything, and so you're building up to it? It's like, for instance, the football games. You know, you go into the national, you go into the state, and things like that. What is the biggest for the teams that are working for tournament wise?
There's a few things they're working for. If they're very competitive and they're up in points, each tournament they get points for being at. So the better you do, the higher your points, just like in NASCAR or anything. So to win the points championship for the year is a big honor. That's, even bigger than somebody walking in. In my opinion, you win the points is bigger than winning a state championship because you've beat everybody the whole year in every tournament. So you're number one. But you have the state championship, which is a big honor to win. You have the classic, which is a 2-day fishing. Is very tough to do 2 days in a row and win off a total weight for 2 days. But the national championship is your prize that if you get there, because this year, there was the kids, the 2 girls from Texas that won, they won over $250,000 apiece in scholarship money.
Wow.
So, there was a lot of money given away, but that's big things. That's big help for parents that are thinking about things like this. Yeah, you have an investment, but if your child's really good at this, they could very much have their college paid for.
Or become a professional.
Yeah.
Now, what do they win? Say, for instance, even on the local side, when you're playing in some of these tournaments, when they come in together and do the weigh-in, what does the winner?
They get a trophy. It's usually a plaque trophy in the bass tournaments we run in. They get the top 5 get trophies, so they'll get a plaque that says their placement, and then they have a big fish award. So that's your honors for it right there. So your top 5 get notarized. They get there. They have this past couple of years they have the front of a boat, that's a bass boat that's cut out and it has 2 seats on it, and it's a big deal for you to be in the lead and get to sit on that boat. It's just the front. It's just a little stand, but it's it looks like the front of a bass boat that's been cut off. But and everybody is just talking junk to knock those 2 people bragging right. Who's getting ready to take that seat. So then the hot seat. So it's fun. I'm telling you, it's amazing the people that's never been to something like that to see the smiles, the joy these kids have.
Right.
There's disappointment. Don't get me wrong, because
that's like in anything.
You can't catch them every time. We had teams this year that I think that we had some teams maybe didn't even catch a fish the whole year. It's just part of the learning process. And I tell them, at the end of the day, did you have fun? That's the biggest thing. You out here, you having fun. Because when I was like, when I was talking on Hank's show, Hank brought a point up I never had thought about. When you play baseball, football, anything like that, you take your kids to a team and a coach and you watch them from afar pretty much do their thing.
Right.
When these kids are on boats with their parents, just like me with my son, they're within a 16-foot radius of you the whole day. So you're right there, right in the action with them. So, the bonding experiences that I have, and that's my challenge to people that have boats that, hey, you may have a boat and you've been on the fence about wanting to do this, man, you can change a kid's life in just one season.
Yeah.
You don't, I challenge parents or anybody that has a boat that even would have the time to put into it. The rewards you'll get out of it are greater than anything.
And this is not, you're not asking them to spend 7 days a week.
Yep.
Say if a person has a boat and they want to, what is your expectation for the person that wants to kind of let them know what is involved for them to come on as a person that's have a boat to bring on these kids here,
so
time-wise and things like that?
So pretty much, we'll have meetings and things. The captains, they talk to each other. Biggest thing, you have to pass a background check.
Right.
So, before you come up, if you clean, it's the biggest thing they and you hate to say it in the day and age we live, is mainly looking for child predators.
Right.
You don't really want to talk about that.
For that, but you also want people's time.
Right. So time-wise and all, realistically, if you just fished, you're looking at one Saturday a month for, the whole day.
Wow.
And then, and then if you want to practice any with them or whatever, that's the involvement. But there's a lot of teams that they just meet in the morning, get on the boat, and they fish, and then they talk back and forth a little bit. But I'll see you next month.
Well, and I know I've seen a lot of boats around here. A lot of people's got boats. A lot of people go fishing.
Yep.
And sometimes they're looking for, well, I need to get somebody to go fishing with me. And that person, well, I can't go.
Yep.
This gives them an opportunity that once a month, they know they got somebody to go fishing with,
yep.
and to show and give their expertise in fishing.
And pass down some of your goodness. Pass down
Exactly.
some of your fortunes and things that you have, because, man, you can stand back at the end of the day when they standing there with those fish holding up and say, I did that. I put you on those, and things because,
Exactly.
it's a thing we all learn from. They all learn and they grow from each other because I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of these kids today don't have a positive parent in their house. Some of them don't. That's just a reality that we face.
That's
and
right.
for somebody to step up and be that positive person, you don't know you could change a kid's life because of that. To take them off of a different path that they would be on. And that's the whole purpose of this, is to teach them life skills that's going to bring them on to next, how to work hard for things that they get. Because, Wesley, we talked about this a lot when we had our one of our first banquets this year at Midway. And I toyed with the fact of participation trophies, but, I told him, I said, we live in an age that's a big deal. We want to be earned. Earn what if you win the trophy, you earned it.
Okay.
So
we're going to be wrapping up here in just a couple minutes here. We got about 3.5 more minutes. Wesley, I got a question to ask you, and I'm going to ask you the same question, Jason. What is the biggest fish that you've ever caught?
Freshwater or salt?
here comes the lies.
Now here. Now, well, since y'all fish mostly in the fresh water, let's say fresh water. We know they got some big stuff out in the oceans.
Let's even break it down. We're gonna say what's the biggest bass, not a striper.
Not a carp.
One in the picture that's on my page that you posted, me being on the show, that one there was 5'9".
Wow.
5 pounds, 9 ounces.
Yeah, that's the reason I asked you that question.
It's been right at just shy of 8 pounds at 22 inches long.
Wow. Now, see, you could have made one up to Jason right here, and messed with him there, so you get about a 15-pounder. It was.
Yeah.
Oh, Moby Dick right there. They ain't no telling what he's finna throw on.
I don't really know what to say because I haven't really officially been keeping up with it. I'm gonna probably say, just for the sake of it, I'm probably gonna say a little over 6 pounds is probably my biggest. I've caught bigger fish, but it's unofficial, so. Jason Jr. is my biggest critic on this because he said if ain't a picture of it, it didn't happen. So, I'm gonna go with what I know. I know I've caught a 6-pounder.
Well, see, now you can't get by with that not a picture because you got your phone if you don't drop it in the water.
That's right.
Right?
Hey, and Wesley's done that too.
You've done that too, Wesley?
Yes, sir. I done it this season at Hartwell. I watched it go 17 feet off the side of the boat.
Oh, man.
Yep.
I think I've seen Hank and one of his friends there that he dropped one in the water, and it happened. When we talk about Hank, we talk about Hank Parker, the professional bass angler, and now we encourage people to help, and if you're not a fisherman, and if you eat fish, of course, and if you just want to donate, you can.
Yep.
To help these kids, they got needs there. You can always call Jason or Wesley, get a hold of them. They got a Facebook page that you can go in there and find them, and call me. We'll get your numbers or whatever like that. But that's what they need mostly, is to help keep funding where these kids will have an opportunity to do something they're going to love and to learn, and the bonding experience, you can't put a price on it.
Right. The donations and sponsorships and everything that comes to this team is 100% given back to these children.
Yep.
In whatever, we'd love to have it one of these days where we could actually help pay some of the expenses the captains are accruing, but we're not at that point yet. Maybe one day we will be, where we can give some gas money and things like that. But people can find us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page. It is our symbol with a yellow American flag behind it. It's UCHS Bass Anglers on Facebook. Like the page, you'll see all of our progress. We post a lot of pictures and a lot of inspirational things for the kids. And any information needed on there is on the page, phone numbers, whatever. We'd love to have you like our page.
Well,
give us some support.
I see all those kids on there too, and the smiling faces they have there. Wesley, we appreciate you being on, and I'm going to let.
One more.
Go ahead.
I have one more thing too. Just because we fish in bass tournaments does not mean the person has to be in a fast boat. They are pontoons out there. They are center console boats.
Yep.
V-hulls.
John boats.
Aluminum boats. Fast boats. So it's as long as it can pass the DNR
It can fish.
rules, it can fish.
Yep.
And has the minimum insurance, liability insurance on it, and a background check for the captain.
Yep.
Well, that's good to know, and that's, see there, people, now you have no excuse. You don't have to have a real fancy boat, and just have one that meets those criteria, and you can find all that on the Facebook page that y'all have, and ask you questions, send them a message. And Wesley, I hope you have a great evening, and appreciate you. I'm sorry you couldn't be here in person, but you just about was here in person, except your voice was here.
Yes, sir. Like I say, I apologize. Work held me out longer than I wanted. But thank you for bringing us on.
Yep.
Thank you for the time that you took with us and help some of the people here in the county understand what we really are about.
Yep.
Well, it's my honor, and I appreciate y'all coming. Yep. Well, you have a good night and good evening.
Yes, sir. You do the same.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Jason, appreciate you coming out with us.
Yep.
And with a little music on here. All right, next week, next Monday, we're going to be on location at the fire department with Mark Wade and Darwin Allen and some of the other firefighters. We're going to be there talking about getting some air conditioning in that firehouse and some things that they need, about a bond being proposed to be on November ballot. And we're going to talk a lot more about that when we're there with them. So please watch next Monday at 7 o'clock. I'm Jerry McKee, and you've been listening to Prime Time with Jerry McKee. You have a great night.